tonight we're going to look at the math notes from page 19. So we're talking about solving linear equations. So in algebra, you learned how to solve a linear equation. What's going to happen in geometry is you're going to now be able to apply your algebra skills to solve geometry problems involving linear equations. So what this math notes block is going to do is help you review how to solve equations and then practice them in your homework. Now, we will have a new format for solving equations. A lot of you on your homework do a great job of lining up your problems such as they have done here. But what we're going to do when we line up our problems and show or solve linear equations is we're going to set them up in what is called two-column proof. And our two-column proof that we're using here is, rightly so, algebraic two-column proof. So now what this math notes box has done is it has gone through step by step and listed for you reasons as to why each step happens in logical and sequential order. It's reminding you to simplify or combine your like terms. It's reminding you to keep the equations balanced, which means if I subtract x from one side, then I need to subtract it from the other. If I subtract 2 from one side, I need to subtract it from the other. It reminds you to move your x terms to one side of the equation, so to move your variables to one side so you can end up with a x equals something answer. And it also reminds you about your undo operations. So remember to use the fact that addition is the opposite of subtraction and multiplication is the opposite of division, and that in essence helps us solve for our x. So if 2 is being multiplied by the x, we divide to have the 2's cancel and leave us with x is equal to -8 divided by 2, which is -4. But what we need to be able to do is to solve using two-column proof format. So we're going to solve in exactly the same way. Most of us are used to doing what happens here on the left. Now that we're in geometry, we are going to be asked to show or provide reasons why, okay, proof of our work. So how does two-column proof look? Simply as follows. I'm going to create two columns. On one side, I have my statements. On the other, I have my reasons. So the point that we are at when we entered geometry was we should be able to write out statements in logical sequential order, keeping that equal sign right down the middle. Some of you, I commented on that about formatting on your homework and neater work. But now the part that's new to us is our reasons side. Okay, so reasons like combining like terms. Okay, that's something that we do in algebra, subtracting x from both sides. I could even say combining like terms for that one as well. Our next step, subtract 2 from both sides. So I'm saying what I'm doing. Okay, you could even go as far as to say I'm undoing the addition of 2 by subtracting 2. So let's go to a fresh page. So now if you want to pause for a second and find this problem, it's right underneath your math notes. It's 1-32 letter A. So now what I would like you to do for A, B, C, and D, because this is your performance problem that you'll be turning in for me today, I would like you to do all 4 problems in a two-column proof format. I will do one for you to show you what I'm looking for, and then you'll be required to do B, C, and D on your own. Now remember, the problem answers are provided for you, so check those out. If you're not getting the answers, then try working backwards. But here's how we're going to set up 1-32 letter A in two-column format. First, I'm simply going to make 2 columns. I'm going to label one side statements, the other side reasons. Now, you are being given this problem to do homework with. So, statement number 1 is the original problem that I have been given. Notice that I number my problem. Now, the reason. What is the reason that I wrote this problem down in the first place? Well, it's because my teacher gave it to me. It's the question that's been posed. It was what I was given to solve for and prove that it is correct. So our first reason we will write is given. The first reason you will write in any proof, no matter whether it's an algebraic one like we're doing here now, or whether it's a proof that involves our figures and our shapes to come. The first reason is always a given. You were given a problem to do, therefore you recognize and state that, well, I was given this thing, so here I go. Notice also that your statements and your reasons should be numbered, so as the reader can find out what statement goes with what reason if we get a little messy or our statements and reasons don't line up. So now my suggestion to you when you're doing 2-column algebraic proof is to work through the algebra first, because that's what you're good at. That's what you've got coming into geometry already. So let's work through this algebra. Let's first combine our like terms, subtract the 10x from both sides. So I'm left with 24x minus 18 is equal to -9. Let's add 18 to both sides. So now I have 24x is equal to a positive 9. Now we are going to divide both sides by 24. And I'm left with x is equal to 9 over 24, which I'm going to make sure that I reduce, so I get x is equal to 3 over 8. So there's our entire algebraic sequence. Now let's go through and number it. All right, I have 8 statements that I need to now supply reasons for, reasons as to why I chose to perform certain steps. So reason number 2, I'm simply going to state exactly what I did. In number 2, I combined my like terms. Now, reason number 3 is a little bit more difficult because we have to ask ourselves, well, did the 10 just disappear? Did the 10 go away? Because even the math notes on the previous page, they don't even provide reasons for those cleanup steps, I like to call. So here's what we're going to call that step. For now, we will come up with a name for it later. We're going to say that in number 3, we simplified. Because did we not take 10, negative 10x, or 10x subtracted from both sides, and now we've simplified our algebraic equation, making it a more simpler form. Now, number 4, we added 18 to both sides. Number 5, we simplified. Number 6, we divided by 24. In 7, we simplified. And in 8, we reduced our fraction. So now, if you look at 1 through 8 closely, and you were actually to go back and look at some of the things you did last term in algebra, you would see that each one of these reasons is actually probably a different day's lesson or a different week's lesson on specific things that you did in algebra. So again, this is our algebraic 2-column proof. And from now on, whenever I ask you to solve algebra problems or there are algebra problems in your homework, I'm going to require you to perform and write down in this specific format. So again, on 1-32, letters B, C, and D, you need to write them down and solve your equations in this 2-column format. If you have any questions, please message the assignment or make a comment on the assignment in Schoology.